Namaste. Good evening. This is Dr. Aparna. I am your emotional healing synergist. I am an Ayurvedic psychotherapist, a passionate infopreneur, medical writer, and a budding YouTuber. In my pursuit to address, promote, and propagate Ayurveda and psychotherapy globally, I come up with discussions or talk throughs every week on either Ayurveda or mental health or psychotherapy or another series called Emotional Metamorphosis series. So, emotional metamorphosis is not an actual word, it is a coined term from the word metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, as you all know, means transformation. So, here, emotional metamorphosis is a mental transformation or emotional transformation. It is a disciplinary skill, which you can develop over a period of time. So, why do we need emotional metamorphosis? Is for emotional wisdom. You know, we have some amount of emotional intelligence to increase our emotional intelligence so that we are able to cope with our personal, professional, and emotional stress, and deal with it actively. So, in this emotional metamorphosis series, I do book reviews. So, if you ask me how do books, reading books or listening to audio podcasts, help in emotional metamorphosis? So, yes, they do help in mental transformation, especially non-fictional self-help, mental health, category books. That those are my genre of interest. So I read these books and come up with a full book synopsis or full book reviews of these books. So today also we are going to discuss a book named Deep Work. So we'll talk about it, and without wasting time, let's get started. So, deep work is a book, is a coin term. So, if you ask me what is deep work is a coin term coined by productivity expert Cal Newport. So, Cal Newport is the author of the book Deep Work. So, what is deep work? It refers to the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. So, deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on what? On a task which needs a person cognitively. That means it involves entering a state of flow. We already spoke about the state of flow in while I was discussing the book synopsis of Ikigai. So if you want, you can check it out. You will find it in my one of my videos in LinkedIn and YouTube. If you want, I'll give you the description, the link in the description. So it involves, entering a state of flow. What is the state of flow? So a state of flow is when you're completely immersed or absorbed in one thing that you're concentrating, that you're focusing, without distractions. So what it does is it helps in achieving high level of productivity and producing high quality output. So see, why is deep work important is deep work is valuable because it allows you to create valuable things that require effort and concentration to produce. So as I said, deep work is the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding, task. It requires a skill, it is a skill that allows you to quickly master complicated information and produce better results in less time. Isn't it that we all require in everyday life, we want to quickly master some complicated information, and we want to produce, we are in search of producing better results every day. How to produce better results within with less time, without wasting time. So deep work will make you better at what you do and provide this sense of true fulfillment that comes from that craftsmanship. So what can we expect from the book Deep Work? See, Deep Work is a thought provoking book. By the way, this is my opinion. You can, at the end, you can give your takeaways. If you have read the book, if you have any insights or takeaways for us, you can definitely mention that in the comment section. All this is while I read the book, I make note of some points or highlight some, points or aspects which I feel are useful and will impact all of us. So here deep work, so we can see what is this book all about. Is deep work is a thought provoking book, so that provides practical tips for including daily work, deep work in daily routines. How do we include deep work in daily routines? So the ability to focus without distraction is a hard task, because we have n number of distractions. This book helps us, gives us practical tips to include deep work in daily routines. So, like setting clear goals and minimizing distractions. So, this book includes real life examples of people who have used to, use deep work to achieve success. I'll talk about all those examples in this session. So, this talks about real life examples. For example, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, um, here this the author Cal Newport has given a, you know an example of Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. Here it is a well written book that I would, recommend to people who uh, are looking to increase their productivity, find more meaning and satisfaction in their work. Because I was, even I was searching for books and practical tips to increase my productivity in a way that I can. So so this has, at least brought a slight this book has brought at least a slight change in me. So let me share some of the practical tips with you as well. So see, when we talk about deep work, deep work, deep work, then there should be something called shallow work. To learn hard things quickly, you must focus intensely without distraction. This is deep work. Focusing intensely in the work, in whatever we are doing, without distraction. So this is deep work. So then what is shallow work? So here author explains that non-cognitively demanding, that means logistical style tasks often performed while distracted. That means you can perform these tasks while you are distracted. Example, cooking. You can cook food, listening to a podcast or watching TV, or for example, this may be an example. This is non cognitively demanding. That means you do not involve your complete thought process into it. So daily cooking I'm talking about. If you are a chef, no, it will not, this will not work for you. So these efforts tend not to create much more, much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. So the main thing, what they say is shallow work can be delegated. So it is not that only you have to do that work. Maybe the household chores or the cooking or the cleaning, whatever it may be. These are examples from my end. Your shallow work might be something different. So the author says that clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not. That means if you have a clarity about what matters to you, then you will also have a clarity about what does not matter to you. So here there are some important rules. To I'll go into the chapter wise summary as well. So here before that, there are some important rules to achieve deep work. That means rule 1 is work deeply. That means allocate specific uninterrupted time blocks for deep work. That means avoid multitasking and minimize distraction during this period. Suppose you're working on a presentation, allot some specific uninterrupted time blocks, you know, for that work, because you have the clarity that that matters to you. The presentation which you're working on, that matters to you, that is in the priority in the list now. So you have to avoid multitasking and minimize distractions during these periods. So the next rule is, there are four rules here, spoken, importantly highlighted in this book. Second rule is embrace boredom. That means, um, whenever we feel, experience boredom, we tend to leave the task, or we tend to switch to another task, or we tend to switch to social media or some distraction or some viewing of something. So when you resist the urge to constantly seek novelty and entertainment, so embrace moments of boredom to foster creativity and deeper focus. That means, we have to resist the urge of urge to constantly seek novelty and entertainment. That, as I said, whenever we feel, or experience boredom, what we do is we constantly, seek novelty to distractions, or some a form of entertainment or social media, or whatever your choice of distraction is. So they say that embrace moments of boredom. you know don't distract, don't, just get to watch some entertainment, or take your phone and go through social media. Just embrace those moments of boredom. Even if you sit simply, don't start watching the social media, seeing the WhatsApp messages or something like that. Embrace those moments of boredom to foster creativity. For a few minutes you can just sit simply, but then what you do is, you again concentrate on the work, or on which you were focusing. So what happens is, this fosters, according to the author, creativity and deeper focus. So the rule 3 here is, quit social media or use it with intention. So they say, the author says that minimize or eliminate the use of social media platforms that tend to be major sources of distraction, or use them intentionally and purposefully when needed. That means, if you have to work, you're working something professionally, then you can use LinkedIn on a purpose, or a mail, or a Gmail, if you have to send any professional thing, or use it intentionally and purposefully. Even if you're using WhatsApp, use it intentionally and purposefully, not to check the social media messages, but use it intentionally and purposefully with a purpose. Next is rule number 4 is drain the shallows. That means limit or streamline shallow work. That means tasks that don't require intense cognitive effort. You can understand in this that limit or streamline the non priority works. You have a list of work that is priority, that is deep work, that dedicated to deep work, and you don't things which do not have the priority, they are shallow work. So limit and streamline the shallow work to create more time for deep work. Delegate or automate tasks whenever possible. So as I said, the shallow work is that work that you can also delegate or automate. So you can delegate or automate tasks whenever possible. So this book says a quote, that to be successful you need to be able to work deeply. That means to work deeply you need to have an environment that supports this kind of work. So to work deeply, the author suggests to build an environment or to have an environment that supports this kind of work. So, deep work is not possible when your day is interrupted by a stream of emails, phone calls, meetings, social media. You need a certain amount of uninterrupted time to do deep work. So, here the author says that to achieve, deep work, you need to create an environment that supports it. So as I said, that means building a culture. So what is that? To me, that means, building a culture that values and prioritizes deep work, as well as creating a physical space that is conducive to deep work. So reasons and highlights to read deep work. So why should you read this book according to me? Because this book helps you to learn how to enhance productivity. So learn how to achieve more in less time by harnessing the power of focused uninterrupted work. Improved quality of work. Deep work leads to higher quality output as it allows for sustained concentration and attention to detail. So what happens is, when you're this helps to improve the quality of work. That means deep work leads to higher quality output because you're very much concentrated into that work or focused into that work. So and it allows the attention to detail. So when you're not distracted, you give attention to every minute detail you're working on. So the next thing is greater creativity and innovation. Deep work fosters a state of flow, which is conducive to generating novel ideas and solutions. When you're more concentrated or focused into the work you're doing, it gives a chance for greater creativity and innovation. So, and you will have an increased job satisfaction. So, engaging in deep work can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and accomplishment in your professional life. You feel a sense of fulfillment because you're concentrating, your full focus is on that work. And what happens is this reduces the stress and overwhelming that comes from the work. We are usually we are at one point of the other we are stressed and overwhelmed because of the pressures of the work. By prioritizing deep work and minimizing distractions, you can experience less stress and a greater sense of control over your work. And this also provides a competitive advantage in a world where shallow work and distractions are prevalent. Mastering deep work gives you, a distinct edge in your field. So balanced use of technology. So Here, the author provides valuable insights into how to use technology in a way that it enhances your productivity rather than hindering your productivity. So here also practical implementation strategies are discussed. That means this book offers, strategies and actionable tips for incorporating deep work into your daily routine. So, and it has inspiring case studies. As I said, the author has, taken examples of individuals and organizations that have reaped significant benefits from adopting, deep work practices. So, and applicability to various professions, whether you are a knowledge worker, whether you are a creative professional, or in any field that demands cognitive work, the principles of deep work are universally relevant. So, and in essence, deep work is a valuable resource for anyone seeking to maximize their productivity, creativity, and overall satisfaction in their professional endeavors. It provides practical strategies and compelling reasons for prioritizing focused, concentrated work in an increasingly distracted world. So, we have known that why should we read the book. So how does this book relevant how is this book relevant in maintaining, holistic wellness and mental health? That is what we are discussing. As I said, this book helps to, reduce stress. We are always overwhelmed by, in one or the other way, either stressed or overwhelmed by our work pressures or the targets. So, deep work, this book allows for sustained focus, reducing the cognitive load associated with constant task switching and distractions. So, what happens is this leads to reduced stress levels and increased fulfillment. What will increased fulfillment do is it contributes in holistic wellness, because you feel, you're engaging in deep work and producing high quality output. So that can lead to a greater sense of accomplishment and job satisfaction, because many of the people do not have the job satisfaction. They are working for the sake of working. So this positively impacts the mental well-being. So, and enhanced creativity and problem solving. So deep work creates an environment conducive to creative thinking and problem solving. This also contributes to a sense of purpose and mental stimulation, so that you can, it contributes in overall well-being. And you will have improved work life balance. Now that you are prioritizing, by, maximizing productivity during deep work sessions, individuals can potentially free up more time for leisure activities, relaxation, and self care, promoting overall mental health, wellness. So greater sense of control. Deep work allows to take charge of their work day and prioritize, tasks based on importance and impact. So leading to a greater sense of, control over the professional lives. So it is not only about enhancing the productivity and professional success. It's also all these factors help in, contributing in mental health and overall well-being. So it is a structured approach for, creativity, for balance, focus, all of those. So before, exploring the chapter wise summary, um you know uh, there are some practical example. The author provides, practical examples of individuals who have successfully implemented deep work practices to achieve exceptional results in their respective fields. So Adam Grant here, I think many of you must have heard the name. Adam Grant is an organizational psychologist and an author. So, what method did he follow? Adam Grant emphasizes time blocking for deep work. So, he schedules specific time slots dedicated to focused, uninterrupted work. He also prioritizes creating boundaries to protect this focused work time. So one is scheduling specific time slots for uninterrupted work and prioritizing and creating boundaries. So this is the example of Adam Grant given in the book. Next is Carl Jung. Carl Jung is also a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst. So what deep work method he follows is Carl Jung built a stone tower on Lake Zurich known as Bollinger Tower. So this secluded space allowed him to work without interruption, enabling him to engage in deep focused thinking. That means he created an environment. We talked about creating an environment, to enable engaging in deep work. We are talking about the environment here. So when we talk of the environment here, Carl Jung secluded a space for himself, which allowed him to work without interruption, enabling him to engage in deep and focused thinking. And the next example the author gives is of J.K. Rowling. So, J.K. Rowling is a British author best known for the Harry Potter series. So, what is the deep work method Rowling followed is Rowling often wrote in cafes and coffee shops. She created an environment that provided a level of ambient noise and separation from her usual surroundings, allowed her to write with deep focus. So, what Rowling did is she often was writing. She is the author, she is a British author who has written the Harry Potter series, which we all love. So, Rowling, what she did was she was often writing in cafes and coffee shops. So, what happened was she created an environment that provided a level of ambient noise and separation from her usual surroundings, allowing her to write with deep focus. The next example the author talks about is Bill Gates, so co founder of Microsoft and philanthropist. So, what method Gates followed was Gates practiced the concept of think weeks. He would isolate himself in a cabin for a week to read and think deeply about the future of technology. This allowed him to engage in uninterrupted and contemplative work. This thinking, the concept is called think weeks. That means Bill Gates would isolate himself in a cabin for a week to read and think deeply about the future of technology. So, this allowed him to engage in uninterrupted and contemplative work. So, the next example the author provides here is Mark Twain. Mark Twain is an American author and a humorist. So, the deep work method he followed is Twain had a writing cabin separate from his main house. So, this provided a dedicated space for him to work in solitude, free from distractions, allowing him to focus deeply on his writing. So he also created an environment for himself that did not allow him did allow him to focus, but did not allow him for there was no there were no distractions. So the next example the author provides is of Donald Knuth is an American computer scientist and a mathematician. So, he is known for his meticulous approach to writing technical books. So, he maintains a strict policy of responding only to physical mail, and delegates email management to his assistant, allowing him to protect his deep work time. So he's delegating his shallow work to his assistant. So what is the benefit is he can work on his priority, that means his deep work. The next example the author provides is of Neil Gaiman. He is a British author known for his works like American Gods and Sandman comics. So this the deep work method that they follow is Gaiman uses a program called Freedom to block the internet while he is writing. So he uses an app called Freedom to block while he is writing. That means this intentional isolation from online distractions allows him to fully focus on his creative work. So the next example is Mason Curry. So he is the author of Daily Rituals, how artists work. So Curry's book explores the daily routines and habits of various creatives. It highlights how many successful individuals incorporate periods of deep uninterrupted work into their routines. So the next example the author gives of is Deep Blue Team. So they are engineers and computer scientists at IBM. So what the method they follow is the team that developed Deep Blue, the first computer to defeat a world chess champion, emphasized deep focused work. So they employed advanced algorithms and rigorous testings to achieve their groundbreaking accomplishment. So the next example, the last example you can say is Stephen Pressfield. So Stephen Pressfield is the author of the books called The War of Art. So the deep work method he followed is Pressfield has dedicated writing space where he goes to work. He treats his space with a level of seriousness and focus, allowing him to produce his best work. What this means is they follow the four rules that we discussed earlier. All the examples given by the author, they follow the the four rules. So that is work deeply, embrace boredom, quit social media, and drain the shallows. They are like they do work on all one or the other way. They work on all these rules. So entering, let's now discuss on what is in the specific chapter wise summary of the book. Like the introduction, the author says that deep work is valuable. That means Cal Newport begins by highlighting the increasing you know rarity of deep work in today's hyper connected world. So he argues that deep work is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy, so as it is a skill that allows one to produce high quality work in less time. So Newport sets the stage for the book by emphasizing the benefits and the growing importance of cultivating deep work here in the introduction. So, in the chapter 1, Deep Work is Rare, Newport discusses how the ability to concentrate without distraction is becoming a rare skill. He presents examples of individuals and organization, all of them I've discussed. So, individuals and organization that have thrived due to their commitment to deep work. So for instance, I have discussed about I did discuss about Carl Jung, Bill Gates. All these examples are discussed in the first chapter. Chapter 2 discusses of deep work is meaningful. So this chapter delves into the idea that deep work is often associated with meaningful, fulfilling work. That means Newport argues that the satisfaction and fulfillment derived from deep work can lead to a greater sense of purpose and accomplishments in one's career. So it is, he argues that, and he just describes that a person would be more satisfied and feels fulfilled if he works deeply, and he has a greater sense, he or she has a greater sense of purpose and accomplishments in career. So, and the chapter T discusses that the deep work is difficult. So, how is it difficult? Like, Newport acknowledges that deep work is not easy. He introduces the concept of attention residue. That means, which is the idea that even a brief interruption can have lingering effects on focus and productivity. Even if you have a brief interruption in whatever you're doing, or a just tiny distraction, that also will have, critical effects on the focus and productivity. So he suggests that training the mind to resist distractions is a critical aspect of cultivating deep work. The next chapter talks about the rules of deep work, all the four rules that we discussed. So, this chapter outlines specific strategies and principles for engaging in deep work. So, Newport introduces the concept of time blocking and setting specific goals for deep work sessions. He also emphasizes the importance of creating a conducive environment and eliminating potential distractions. So the chapter 5, the next chapter talks about the rhythms of deep work. So here the author explores how different approaches to deep work, such as monastic, if you want in detail, I'll talk about it. Monastic approach is long and uninterrupted periods of approach for one work. And there is another thing called bimodal approach, splitting the day into deep and shallow work periods. This time is for deeper work, this time is for shallow work. You divide your work periods into deep and shallow. Those are, that is called bimodal method. One is monastic, is long uninterrupted periods for one task. Next is bimodal. So one see, every approach is not for everybody. So one approach, this can be effective for different individuals. Each approach can be effective for different individuals. So he provides examples of successful professionals who have tailored their schedules to maximize deep work. So the next chapter discusses on how to implement deep work. So Newport offers practical advice on how to integrate deep work into one's daily routine. So he is suggesting to start with small manageable steps first, and then gradually increase the depth and duration of focused work sessions. That means you can start with, you're focusing on one thing for 30 minutes. Start with small, manageable steps and gradually increase the depth and duration of focused work sessions. That means without distractions. He also emphasizes the importance of setting clear goals and tracking progress. Not only is setting clear goals important, tracking of the goals is also important. So, and chapter 7 talks about become hard to reach. That means you put here, he's addressing that being less available and creating boundaries around communication is crucial for protecting and prioritizing deep work. So he's talking about how to be less available and how to create boundaries. He provides examples of successful individuals who have intentionally limited their availability to colleagues and clients to create space for deep thinking. So, the next chapter talks about embrace boredom. So, this chapter challenges the idea that boredom is unproductive. That means Newport suggests that allowing oneself to experience boredom can actually lead to increased creativity and deeper levels of concentration. Instead of getting distracted when you experience boredom, you just embrace it, so that you develop a practice of avoiding distractions. So here also he provides examples of how embracing moments of boredom has led to breakthrough in various fields. So the next is conclusion. So the idea in practice. Here Newport concludes by summarizing the key concepts and strategies for implementing deep work. He says that he emphasizes that deep work is not just a theory but a practical approach that can be applied to enhance productivity and creativity in any profession. So here some practical insights could be time blocking. So what is time blocking is allocate specific time slots for deep work in your schedule. For example, for instance, designate first 2 hours of your work day for focused uninterrupted work. Next method is digital minimalism. Minimalize digital distractions by using tools like website blockers, digital well-being, whatever you use, and turning off notification during deep work sessions. Next is selective accessibility. So control your availability to others. For example, limit the frequency of checking emails or set specific times for meetings and discussion. Next is experimentation. Try different approaches to deep work and find what works for you the best. So, for instance, test out different time management techniques and observe which yields the highest productivity. So, next is to measure your deep work. Once you start working deeply, you have to measure your deep work and keep the track of your the progress. So keep track of the time spent on deep work and set targets for improvement. So use metrics to gauge your progress and adjust your strategies accordingly. So, what the one step which I felt may be particularly important for many people is setting aside dedicated blocks for of time for deep work. We should start with this. Even I have started with this. So, this involves choosing specific times during the day or week when you will focus on deep work without any distractions. For example, now I am doing a deep work without any distraction, without getting distracted. So this can help you prioritize your tasks and focus on the most important and meaningful work, which can lead to a greater productivity and satisfaction. So by applying these practical strategies, we can cultivate deep work habits and unlock higher levels of productivity, creativity, satisfaction, in our professional endeavors. So the key is consistency and deliberate practice. The author ends the book here, and this brings an end to the session as well. And please let me know if you have read the book, your key takeaways and insights. If you have something for us important that you have inculcated as deep work, as a deep work technique, do mention in the comment section. And if you have any queries, you can mention them as well in the current comment section. So if you want me to review or summarize any of the books that you have read, you can also mention them in the comment section. So thank you for staying tuned. Namaste. I'll be back in the next session. Good night.